Okay, we are in the book of Samuel. Please subscribe to this channel, give it a thumbs up, hit the bell to get all notifications. And we are in we're on chapter 17, verse 46. Where again we're in the talking stage of the fight. And so David, after answering Goliath's challenge, he says further, he says, Hayom Azeh, this day, he said, Gercha Hashem v'yadi, Hashem will again literally close you into my hand. I was going to give you over to me, v'hikiticha, and I will kill you. V'asiroti avoshcha melech, and I will cut off your head from upon you. V'natati peger machane Philistine Hayom Azeh, and I will give your corpse and to the camps of the Philistine this day, la'of hashamayim, to the birds of the sky, ulachayot ha'aretz, and to the animals of the ground, v'yedu, and they v'yedu kol ha'aretz, excuse me, and all the land will know ki yesh Elokim Israel, that there is a God for Israel. Right. So not only does he talk about what was the expression we're using? Trash talking, right? Not only is he trash talking and saying to Goliath, I'm going to chop your head off and I'm going to feed you to the animals, which would have been parallel to what the police said to David. Okay, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to throw you to the animals. So not only does he do that, but he also includes all the Philistines. I'm going to take you and all the Philistines with you. That's it. Okay, it doesn't matter. I'm taking you all up. Now, why? If I just want to think logically, why he's saying that without any translations, without any foreshim, it would make sense. Rabbinic explanations. Oh, wow. So it would make sense that he has to threaten everybody. He wants to really intimidate, to say, my God's going to show you. You've been talking against my God. Well, my God's not only going to take your champion out, which you allow to open his big mouth, but he's going to take all of you guys out.
Yeah, he's just thinking also, again, you're looking at this huge giant, right, with all decked out with the armor and a big spear and all that. Mm-hmm. Little David has a slingshot with the half a dozen rocks, whatever it is, right? And he's really insulting him. He's just trying to infuriate him. Maybe that's trying to throw him off guard or something. Okay. It's really infuriating him, yeah? Got to be.
But that's not all that he's saying. He's saying Goliath, but he's also saying the enemy soldiers.
Everybody. He's going to wipe all of
you
out. Correct. My God will do that.
Yeah. Correct. So now what's going to happen? So now that's like I said, that's the punking out. That's a clear punking out. Okay. So now Matsudas David says, his question is, okay, I understand you threatening the champion. Yeah. That's not a problem. You know, guy on guy, you threaten and you say, you say you're gonna feed me, I'll feed you.
Yeah, like saying,
you and your mother.
I'll see that and raise it.
Right, you and your mother. That sort of thing. Yeah. But the question is, okay, you're threatening people. How are you going to ensure that what's going to happen? In other words, what would be the sign? So the Matsudas David says, when he says, I will give the corpse, it means ki kishamitcha, when I kill you, yanusu kulam. All of them, all the people behind you, they're going to run. And as a result of their running, they're going to be afraid. And they're going to kill each other, basically. They're going to do the job so we don't have to. They're going to be running so much they wouldn't, and that's what happens in battle.
Trample each other.
You trample each other, you get afraid, so you start killing each other. You don't know who you're killing anymore. And we saw this many times in the wars before us. So that's, again, a very simple way of looking at it, and it would make sense. So then, again, going with the Malbim is 46. So he says, again, this day, what's this day? I'm not going to conquer you now with my strength. I don't have the strength to beat you. Let's understand something. It says, Rak Hashem, Hashem will give you over, will close you into my hands. Lo otcha levad. Not only you, ki gam kol hamachane Philistine yasgir biyad ish echad havotechbo, but also the whole entire camp of the Philistine will be given to this one hand who has trust in Hashem. V'zeh arviach shnei devarim, and with this I will expand by two things. One, v'yadu V'yedu kol haaretz, all of the nation, all of the land. Who's that inclusive of? Ha'umot she'ein ma'aminim b'hashgachat Hashem. This is inclusive of the nations who don't recognize, who don't believe in the hashgacha of Hashem, the supervision of Hashem, namely over a people or over individuals. They don't recognize that Hashem is running the show. Okay, most people think to this very day that it's not. It's might makes right. Right? If I have the numbers, I can beat you. If I have the money, I can buy you. All these situations where we think that it's us and not Hashem. Hashem is not ruling the world. Hashem, as it were, created, if you want to admit he created it and has left the building. Okay, that sort of thing. He's left it for its own design, which is why when it rains, and we try to predict the weather. We do a horrible job. Well, we don't do anything. The weather, although this one they got right. It's supposed to rain today. Everybody, you got a good job. Okay, wonderful. Okay.
Is that today's forecast?
That was today's forecast. That I'll just make sure. I never want to lie about today's forecast. So according to my weather app in San Diego, okay, fine. And where are we? South Bend, Indiana. It says rain. Yes, it does say rain. They clearly got it right today. Okay, good. They've been saying rain for Thursday for a while, so you say it long enough and you will be right. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Okay, so they got it right. But the point is they look for patterns, right? We all look for patterns. So if it's not, and why do you look for patterns? Because Hashem put it like that, that we should see patterns. But what happens when suddenly the sun comes out tomorrow?
Or the winds change and
all these things. So we try to explain what's happening, but really it's all with the supervision of Hashem. We have to recognize that there is somebody conducting the orchestra. The orchestra doesn't go by itself. Okay? And so many nations don't believe that. So he says when they see the entire nation being given over to one guy's going to take it down, as it were. Yakiru, they will recognize V'yedu, and they will know Ki yesh Elokim b'Yisrael, that there is a God in Israel, that we have the judge is on our side. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, this was brought up at Sharon Beer. Who are we really giving this notification to? Is it the Jews? In other words, why is Hashem going to? There's an outright miracle.
Who is this person, Sharon?
Beer and share. We had a class on Tuesday night. It's called beer.
Drinking.
And class. Share is class.
Yeah.
So
that's like lunch and learn liquid style.
Right. So we were very nice here. We do everything.
Yes, I would imagine.
Right. Very nice. So it's never done on the Torah Center auspices. It's always done in somebody else's home. I happen to be the speaker. Very nice. But we were discussing this very issue of who Hashem. We were discussing the parsha, the Torah section of Exodus, and Hashem is going to bring plagues to the Egyptians, right?
What?
Plagues to the Egyptians, the Makot. So what happens is the question is, who is it for? Are the plagues for the Egyptians to show the Egyptians that God is running the world? Or is it for us, the Jews? Who's it really for? In other words, why is Hashem doing certain things here? He always says, I'm doing it for the other nations, so that they would recognize, because we want to say we always recognize, right? That's the point. But at the same time, we seem to be missing the boat every time. Why? If you look at the story of Exodus, which if you come tonight, we'll look at it in a deeper manner, but on the outside, on just a simple thing, they thought the Jews thought, because of their political clout, they could discuss things with Pharaoh and get things straightened out. No. They were going the diplomatic route, as opposed to Moshe, who comes to him and says, God said, and therefore you're going to do it. Okay. And that's when he says, who's God, and so on and so forth. Again, come tonight, and we'll have that discussion, or watch me on YouTube. Either choice. But if you watch me on YouTube, you can't ask questions.
Yes, I know that.
You have to come to class to ask questions. Okay?
Right, which means you'll finish in the allotted time.
Oh, we never do, but okay. But so now here also, You have the same thing. What was wrong with the Jews? The Jews were being bullied, punked out by this Goliath guy, and saying, and anybody come for 40 days, they sit there and they're shivering. What are we supposed to do? Yeah. And suddenly David comes along and says Hashem is going to, and now he trash talks and says Hashem's going to, today, Hashem's going to do this and put you into my hands and your whole group. And then the land will know. All the land will know. Again, the Malbim says it's referring to the other people, but I would have that question. It's referring to the other people solely, certainly them too, but it's also referring to us. Who's he trying to tell? Who is David really trying to convince?
All right, so answer that other question. Who were the plagues for, the Egyptians or us?
Both. I mean, the ultimate view would be both.
And this is true for both?
Also, it's going to be for both. Because what you have to say is the Jews were also afraid. So it's not just for the non-Jews, but at the same time, David doesn't want to indict his own people, not in front of the enemy. You never indict your family in front of the stranger, right? You only indict them privately. Mm-hmm. You didn't do this, you didn't do that, you should have done this, you should have done that. Okay. But you're not going to do that publicly. If you do, you're worse than the worst enemy. You never incite your family, you never indict your family in front of somebody else. That's why if you're ever at a family function and there's what we call a stranger, the non-family member there, and then the family starts what they always like to do when they have a little too much to eat or drink, they like to argue. So what's the expression? Don't argue in front of non-family. This is a private affair. If somebody with a common sense will say that. And that's what you're saying. You don't argue in front of strangers. That's us. That's our private little thing. And we'll deal and we'll fight and we'll do what we want. But not in front of the other mensch. Not in front of that guy. Leave me alone. Okay? Don't air your dirty laundry. Right. Don't air your dirty laundry. Enough. Okay, that's our dirty laundry. We keep that to our side. And then everybody else, we show a united front. Okay. By the way, if you ever think about it, when Israel's being attacked, and I've commented about this many times, when we get together, like the last time we were attacked, well, it was yesterday, but the last time we were majorly attacked was yesterday, but but when the war, the last when they found the tunnels a couple of years ago. So what happened? The Federation decided they're going to pull everybody together, and under the Federation auspices. And we had the entire community at that one thing. It was around Tisha B'Av. I remember. And,
I remember that.
And they asked me to give the blessing for the state of Israel. It must be the blessing for the state of Israel they asked me for. When it comes to Hebrew, they like to pull me in for something. And so they just wanted me to give the blessing.
What did Rabbi the other one do?
There were three rabbis.
What did the one from Sinai do?
Sinai did something else. But the point is, I thought they told me you're just supposed to say blessing, and he's going to just say something else, maybe a song. I don't know what he was going to do. I forget what he was doing. But suddenly he went up there and he made a speech. And the other rabbi gave me a speech. I'm saying, am I supposed to make a speech? I know I'm supposed to make a speech. So I'm pretty good on the fly, but I'd rather not have to do that sort of thing. But I went up, and before I said the prayer for the state of Israel, I mentioned that it's around Tisha B'Av for 3 weeks, and that's what's going on. But I said, but I want you to understand something. The 3 weeks are commemorated because we all have free hatred. We all don't like each other. That was our punishment. We didn't get along with each other. That's what the rabbis say. That's why the temple was destroyed. And I said, look what's going on here. Hashem brought this makkah that we have, this plague, namely the wars, and we all get together to pray to Hashem, to show our unity. At this time, we're commemorating the fact that we don't have unity. This is what happens. We all come together. Rabbi Shalom, and because of this, all this unity, stop the war. And then I went on to say the prayer. Oh, everybody, they like that. They like what I was saying. But that's really what it is. At time of distress, we all forget all our arguments. We all come together.
Would you like to know where the ambulances are that end up in Israel? You know where they're made? In Elkhart, Indiana.
Okay, there you go.
I go to a place called Nickel Molding to get some pictures framed.
Right.
and you go down some street. It's like an industrial complex.
Right.
One-story buildings. They have white ones. They have yellow ones.
Huh.
The Friends of Magen David in
Right.
Israel, with the Star of David on
Good.
it. There's Hebrew. They're all made in Elkhart.
Wow.
Baruch Hashem.
Well, because that's where they do the van conversion.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
It's a
Right.
van conversion. Some of
Cool.
them have
Yeah.
tops like a
Right.
higher in.
I'm-
You can walk in.
I don't. I doubt that's the only place, but it's those ambulances
Sure.
cost about $30,000,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
and that's what they were raising money for.
Oh, no, it has to be the base
Probably more
vehicle
than
is
that.
More than that.
Oh, maybe
Ah.
more. Okay, I forgot what it was.
A
But
sedan costs 30,000.
So they were trying to raise money for that.
Yeah.
To Magen
so
David,
they're
right?
made from Elkhart and then apparently down the toll road and somehow to Israel.
Okay.
You ever knew you could take the toll road to Israel?
I wish.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
What happened yesterday?
They're bombed every day.
Oh, okay.
It's just
Yeah.
an everyday event. It's just bombs dropping.
Right.
It's a Siddur Road. The news media refuses to cover that
Right.
because every day it'd be the same thing and other bombs drop
Yeah.
down. But it's every day they're being bombed.
It's nothing new in particular. It's just the continuation.
No, that's just every day. It's just that a couple of years ago there was an actual incursion, more than normal.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Okay. And then the second thing is Viadu Kol HaKahal, and that's why, which is coming to the next verse. So let's do the next verse first. 47. It says V'yedu Kol HaKahal, and all this congregation will know. Again, he's referring to the Jews at this point. Mistama. This okay. Kilo becherev v'chanit Yoshia Hashem. That is not with sword or with spear that Hashem will save the people. Right? They still have spear, chanit, sword and spear. Okay.
yeah.
Good. Kilo Hashem hamilchama, because the war belongs to God, as it were. V'natan etchem yadenu, and He will give you into our hands.
Can I?
Yeah.
For I don't know what reason, from going to 46 to 47, there is no period. It's part of the same paragraph, and in fact, separated only by a comma.
Okay.
What
Because I don't have it here. It's a different word. It's a different sentence for me. But the commentator's running it together because, the translator is running it together because it would make sense to put it together, but it doesn't necessarily have to be together.
Yeah, all right. Then the whole world will know that there's God in Israel, comma, now 47.
Right.
And they don't even start with a capital letter. It's the same sentence.
Right. So that's how the translator's deciding to see it. The Torah, the Tanakh doesn't have it that way. He has it set.
But
period.
isn't that the reversing vav?
Right, and that's
So it doesn't have to be an and.
no, it's not. No, it's not a reversing.
It's not.
The reason it's not is because it's there's a shva under it. V'yedu. So it's future, and they will know.
Oh, so it is. So it is an and.
Yeah, in English.
It could be and yeah, it could be, yeah. It's not that it's not
Okay,
that
so
new.
that's why, yeah, because in this version, but Judaica books,
Yeah.
Judaica Press,
Does it have,
yeah,
what does it have?
they show the period at the end of 46 and then 47.
Right.
The first word is and they started with a capital
Right.
A.
Yeah,
So
mine
when
has
it
another-
comes to
Yeah.
these two books,
Yeah.
this is written a long time ago.
Yeah.
They're trying to follow the rule that you
Ah.
can't start a sentence with and.
Yeah.
You can't really.
In English.
I have started a sentence with but not and.
Okay, so they say you shouldn't,
Yeah.
and so they're following that pattern. And it could be that's why our scroll decided to make that a comma. I'm not sure why they did.
The reversing vav has to have a patach under it.
And when it's the future, the word yedu is future.
Okay, so
They will know.
So it's
So-
not changed. So it is.
so it's not changing it.
It's a conjunction that it is. Yeah.
Right.
It's a continuation.
Right.
It is in
Right.
the Hebrew the same sentence.
No, in
No.
Hebrew it's a different sentence.
It is.
Yeah, because we have a period after Yisrael.
Yeah, but that's inserted later though.
No. That
You can say because
the Sof Pasuk is a note.
Ah,
Pasuk is a note.
okay. So that's the
Right.
Masorah that it's a Sof Pasuk.
Right.
Okay.
So now Malbim says Another thing is when it says V'yedu kol kahal, he says again, Gam Yisrael, also Israel, Hagam Sha'aminim Hashgacha. They also need to know that Hashem is running. They also have to believe that Hashem is running the world. But even though they held that, in other words, even though we know that Hashem is running the world, still and all, they assumed until now, they said Hashem will save us with the normal methods. Normal methods. In other words, we normally have to, if we want to protect ourselves, we normally have to fight. That's normal. We can't just rely upon miracles and expect Hashem to do this. So we got conditioned to the MCM Tava'im, in other words, normal methodologies. And that's why they are prepared with swords and with the army, with the armaments and with war. Because until now, it makes sense that they should have the war in man against man. Hashem rak machriya elasad. The only thing that Hashem is doing is tilting the balance to the side that he wants to influence with his divine guidance. But now, okay, that's what he's saying. He's saying,
Are you still in 47?
yeah, I'm explaining it. Whereas, what does it mean that the whole nation is going to know? Masudas David says, why did the Jews need to know? So we understand the non-Jews. The non-Jews, they had multiple gods. They didn't know what was going on, so fine. So we're identifying God, or he is identifying God as the one who runs the whole show. So he said, okay, but then he says, V'yadu kol ha'kalazeh, and also these people, the Jews. It's not airing totally laundry, but he's making a statement. You also know that why? Because the Jews, while the Jews recognize Hashem's guidance over the world, there's no question about that. We always recognize that. That's why we say, Mr. Hashem, God willing, and then we go to do our work, whatever we're going to do. Okay. But what they think is, and again, this is a very modern day thought, that, so nothing's really changed, that we have to do our endeavors. We have to make our efforts. We don't, God helps those who help themselves, right? Famous thing we always tell our kids, and it goes through the years, the millennia, that God helps those who help themselves. You can't just sit down and expect God to do everything for you. That's what we yell. They yell at us about that. Okay, fine. So that's what he's saying. So they said, okay, we know there's going to be war. We know Hashem runs a war. No question. But Hashem wants us to fight. So therefore, we have to prepare. We have to do our military exercises. We have to have our shields. We have to have our swords. We have to have our armies. We have to build up our troops. Right? We have to give money to the military. We have to do that. Fine. And then what's going to happen? We're going to go to war. And what's going to determine whether or not we win? Hashem. Hashem is going to be machriya. He's going to put it in one person's side or the other. What's that based upon? Merit. Or a dismerit. Whatever the case is going to be. In other words, nothing to do with them normally. It's always to do with us. Either we do deserve the miracle or we don't deserve the miracle. Okay? But, so in other words, the miracle would be to win. Okay? So, because we're usually outnumbered anyway.
In the military sense.
Military sense, right. We're usually outnumbered anyway. But either way, it's Hashem who's running. And we recognize that. But we say, no, we have to do it. So David is saying to them, he goes one step further. He says, and now you're going to know. They will know. They will know. It's not with sword or with spear that Hashem causes the salvation. It's not via the conventional war that this happens. Because only Hashem has the war call. All of the war is on him. Levad, alone. And the man doesn't need to do anything. And he, God, will give you, collectively, you policed him, into our hands. Without us having anything necessary for the bows, the shields, the swords, or any war of that matter. That's what David is presenting to the people. Talk about trash talking the opponent. You are nothing, but it's not me, he says. I also have nothing to do here. I'm going to sit back. The Rebbe Shalom is going to come. The Master of the Universe is going to come and wipe you out. And I'm going to just sit here and say, go ahead, do your job, and I'll come in and do what I have to do later. But we're the victors. That's what he says.
And David knew it would take place that day.
Yep. Well, he knows right now. Right now, ring the bell. He gives that introduction. Okay? So now, Vaya Kia Kam Pelishti. So now the Pelishti heard enough already. Okay. We've had our banter back and forth. Okay, now. It was when the Pelishti got up, Vayelech, Vayikrov Lekrot David, and he went and he started to approach to come close to David. Vayamehir David. So David rushed. David ran into the fray, as it were, to meet the Pelishti. So it says, Malvin says, Vaya ata kam Pelishti. Now the Pelishti got up. Karev elav, to come close to him. The David rushed l'acharav, and David ran to the back. El tzadam aracha, in other words, towards the to the fray. And his desire, his intent was to run toward him, Leman Yikle Matar, so that he could, in order for the aim, when he's shooting the rock for aim, he's going to come close to him, fine. For the target, that's what it is. Okay. So now, by Yishlach, David sends his hand, Ela Kelly, to the vessel that he had. So he takes the stone in his sling, Vayach at the Pelishti El Mitzcho. He smites the Pelishti to his forehead. V'titpa Evan b'mitzcho, and now the rock sinks. That's the language.
Yeah.
Sinks into his forehead.
Yeah, this says penetrated.
Penetrates. Okay.
Yeah.
Vayipol al panav artsa, and he fell upon his face to the ground. Okay, it's knocked out apparently. So it says, Malbim says, Vayishlach vanilva imam Hashgach Hashem, and accompanying with him was the supervision of Hashem in B'meshik Kala Lamatura Pam Acha. In that, how was it a miracle? In that he went to sling, he got the first time, hit the target. In B'meshik Kiven and Mitzcho, and that which he intended to get to his forehead. And then he fell as a result of that first hit. Fell acharav. He should have fell backward.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if there was anything indicating the force of the blow. Would he have fallen forwards or backwards?
Okay, so he says he should have fallen backward. Avala Evan nitbav mischo, but because the stone sunk into his forehead. Nafal machmar cholsha. He fell because of weakness. L'chein nafal al panav. That's why he falls on his face. So it wasn't the force of the rock that throws him down, but it was the force of the rock that sunk into his forehead, made him weak. Boom! He faints. Hits his face.
So in other words, at first I thought too, yeah, that it hit him so hard that it killed him right away. But apparently it didn't kill him right away. It just it messed it deep enough to stun him so bad that he became weak. That he probably wobbled a little bit and then try to keep his balance. And
unlike weebles who wobble but they don't fall down. I don't know if anybody knows that one. Okay, but I'm wondering how many people in YouTube land know what I'm talking about. Okay. But it's again, it wasn't the force of the rock hitting him, because it's a small rock. It's a small rock. So a rock hits, you're not going to fall back. So, but the point is, he got weak.
Yeah.
And came down like a sequoia. Okay. So now what happens? Skip a line. No. Okay. David in a police to Bekelo of heaven. So now David How do you want to translate that? He got stronger on the Pelishti. The Aaron Pelishti. Okay. So David min Pelishti. So now David, as it were, becomes strong, overcomes. Is that how they say it? Overcomes?
Overpowered.
Overpowered from the Pelishti with his sling and the stone. The Pelishti. And now he hits the Pelishti. And he kills him. Cherev ein biyad David. And the sword there was no sword in the hand of David.
Also, like maybe we'll get the commentary, but it says so after he fell to the ground, so he overpowers him with a slingshot. What does that mean? Did he hit him again with the slingshot after he fell? Is it or is it just kind of repeating what we just said? But then he's just kind of just a repetition of the previous verse.
In my book, it starts with thus. So he's retelling what just happened.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. He hit him only once. That's
right.
why he starts with thus.
Correct. Yeah. So now it says, the Malvin says, V'echazak Yomam, Ra Godel Hanes. He says, see the greatness of this miracle. Kia bekela be'even hit chazak neged agibor. That with the sling and this stone, that he was overpowered this giant. Ha'aretz says that. I shouldn't say giant. Because you're going to pick on the word giant. This Gibor, a Gibor is an extremely strong guy. Okay. Va'aretz zeh, Mezuyim Barzel Nechoshet, who was armed with iron and copper, and with this little stone, Himituhu. I killed him. He killed him. Sorry. Ratza Lamar, it wants to say, Shekau Maka Shesofa Lamud, which means he hit him with something that would cause death. He didn't kill him with the stone, right? The stone sunk into his forehead. He falls forward and he dies as a result of the wound. Wasn't okay, so that's really what happened. Vayan Od Haya Ruach Chayim Bo, and in the instance there was still life in him. Lachain Vayaratz, and then okay, so now we come to the next one. So it says, this is what's strange about this. Again, if you go in the order, simple words. It says, again, let's go 50, 51, 52, really in a quick fashion. So it says, David overpowered the Plishti with the sling and the stone. And he hit the Plishti and he killed him. And there was no sword in his hand. Vayaratz David. So David runs, V'yamor el Plishti, and he stands as it were over the Plishti. That you have to say El means over here. Some who are close to him, fine. Vayikach et charbo. He took his sword. Whose sword? The guy Goliath's sword, because he didn't have a sword.
Yeah.
Right? He didn't have a sword. So his sword must be referring back to Plishti. Vayishlafa mitara. He takes it out from its whatever you put the sword into, the sheath. The sheath. The what?
Scabbard.
Yeah.
Scabbard with the sheath.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Vayemotehu kills him. Vayichra ba et rosho, and he cuts with it, the sword, his head. Avera Pelishtim, and the Pelishtim saw ki made giborim vayanusu, that their hero, their strong guy, had died, and they ran. So you have a question. Wait a second. You said you killed him before. So now what are you talking about? You took the sword and you killed. You can't kill somebody twice.
But this says in here, having already killed him, he drew the sword from the sheath, comma, having already killed him, comma, and cut off his head with it. He didn't kill him twice.
Well, the problem is, why is he running towards him?
Why?
And
Well,
that's
that is a question,
so
because
that's why the Malbim says. That's why the Malbim says V'yan od ki haya ruach chayim bo. There still was a bit of life in him. Apparently, he was still moving. So that's where we get into all these arguments.
Well, this one says here that by the time that sword came from its sheath, there's no doubt that Goliath was already dead. It says having already killed him.
Okay, but that doesn't say it here. That's what I'm saying. The Hebrew, he wants to make that point. But it says here, the Malbim goes, because it says, that, and he killed him. The word is, and he killed him. So what's he doing? How many times are you killing him? So if you want to say thus, he was killed.
Interesting.
So
Maybe David wasn't sure he was dead after he fell down.
It
That I
doesn't
don't
matter. He already
Unless-
threatened to take
Unless
his
he's
head off.
he's just making a show for the police. For the,
So, by the way, what he's quoting, Mr. Archcroll, is quoting the Metzudas David, who would say he already killed him with his sling. Now he just wants to cut his head with the sword. That would be what you're reading. Okay?
Say that again?
In other words, the Metzudas David, that's a commentary that Archcroll is going with. He said he killed him, which means already he killed him with the sling.
Yeah, implying that.
Right, that's the implication.
Yeah.
And now he's just cutting his head off with the sword.
so
As
maybe
he
yeah,
threatened
for,
earlier
for
to-
the for the oncoming Philistine army that's standing there, what's going on? Our
Right,
hero just
right.
fell down. Now that
So,
they
but-
have no doubt now that he's
Correct.
dead.
Once they saw his head off, it's done.
Yeah.
But the point is that since it says Vayimotehu, and he killed him, so the Malbim wants to say that he saw some life in him. And that's why it says he ran, otherwise why run? You have to run.
Want to make sure.
And he ran and he kills him. And he says, Ratzlimar wants to say, Gamar mitato. He wants to finish the kill. Ki zeh ha'evdel bein mate uvein motate. And this is a difference, Malbim tells us, between the words mate and motate. Okay, both meaning dead. B'remuva. Shapir's Gemara Gemita, which means that you have to finish off the kill, as it were. Kavar ba'arnu shezel lo haya b'derech hityatchut b'lochamim. And we already explained that this was not the way of normal engagement in war. L'chein lo nishmru hatana'im, and therefore we didn't maintain the conditions. Sheyu apelishtim avadim, that the Pelishtim would be servants, because that was original, right? The original agreement was, if I lose to you, if I, Goliath, lose to you, Jew, then the entire Pelishtim will be your servants, so on and so forth. Well, what do? They run. So it says, the Malbim is saying, since the Pelishtim, since they didn't fight according to normal warfare, they didn't hold up the Jews by coming out only with a sling and a stone, didn't follow the normal rules of warfare, even though they would have been more than happy if Goliath would have defeated them, the Jews, to make them the servants. Pelishtim weren't going to abide by this bargain.
That they would be the slaves.
Right, and that's why it says, Rak Be'enusu. And they ran,
So
and
this
that's
wasn't- the Geneva Convention didn't cover this.
I guess not. And then it says V'Yisrael Rad v'Achareim Yapilum B'Cholam. And that's why the Jews, and that's why it's going to be the next verse, will run after them and kill them. So it says Vayikumu Anshe Yisrael v'Yehuda. So now when they see the Pelishtim running, so that's when, and they saw the victory. Now the men of Israel get up, men of Israel and Yehuda get up, and they blow the trumpet, they blow the shofar. And a Pelishtim, and they pursue the Pelishtim ad bo'acha Gai until they come to Gai. V'ad shari Ekron, to the gates of Ekron. V'yiplu chalale Pelishtim b'derech sha'arayim, and they kill the corpses of the Pelishtim fall on the way to Sha'arayim. V'yad Gad, v'yad Ekron, until Ekron. So they're dying along the way, you'd have to say, because one is Vayiplu, they caused the falling. Doesn't say they killed, actually. It's interesting. It says they caused the fall. How do they say it? They killed? How do they translate that?
Slain.
They slayed.
Yeah.
Okay. They caused them to fall.
What verse are you in?
That was 52.
Yeah, because I'm looking down here. I don't know whose words these are. In 50:51, verse 50 exclaims, as it were, at the extent of the miracle, that David had been able to strike a mortal blow against such a mighty warrior with only a sling and pebbles. So he didn't kill him with the sword, or it wouldn't have been a mortal blow.
Again, we can have an argument as to what happened because of the word.
Well, this is just another voice in it. That's all. Another voice in the discussion.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. They're not going, because they're looking at they're all basing themselves upon Masuda's David at that point. To say that it was already dead, and now he just wants to cut his head off to make the point. But the Malbim saying that why did he have to? He's asking why do you have to run? There's nobody's out of all his commentaries, nobody's answering the question why David ran. If I see the guy dead, I don't have to run. I can take my time. I can saunter over, take this up, and kill him. I can saunter. I don't have to run. What am I running for? Okay. And he's running, so that's why the Malbim's picking up on this and saying he was apparently still stirring, or he saw him still breathing. I don't know what he saw, but so he says, okay, let me kill him, because we all know one thing: you don't want him to get up. You don't want the guy to get up again. So you kill him.
Can you answer that question? Why he did run to him?
That's what he's saying. He saw he was still alive, so he runs, grabs his sword, and kills him. That's why the Masuda's David. That's why
these stories agreed with each other, because it gives a clue into David's thinking. Was he going after an already dead, vanquished opponent, or was he going after him to kill him?
Either way, it would work for the story. In other words, if he's going to show that he's dead, right? So what he does is takes off his sword, because that's what he said he would do, and then he kills him, and that shows the rest of the Philistine war ended, or war begins, whatever you want, or you're going to run, whatever. Your hero is dead. That's one thing. I'm going to chop him off, because as I said I would do, fulfill my words. That would be the simple way of saying it. Again, the other side is saying, no, he saw that he was alive still. In other words, if he saw that he was totally dead, the question would be, according to Malbim, would he still have chopped his head off? That I don't know.
But he threatened to do that.
I can threaten to do a lot of things, but it doesn't mean I'm going to actually do it. In other words, the Jews are supposed to wipe out all these people, but we didn't, because we have such compassion. We have, to this very day, we have compassion over our enemies, that we send out leaflets and drop them over before we bomb you, to say, please leave the area, because we don't want to hurt anybody. I'm just going to drop bombs and destroy your houses. I mean, what kind of nonsense is that? No, throw the bombs, kill the people, and get to the end of it. You know, when's the last time we did it? What, in Hiroshima? I think it's the last time we did it. Okay, but really, who does that? It's not a normal way to fight a war. A normal way to fight a war is
dropped on those two cities before the bombs were dropped on.
That's what I was told.
Yes.
Yes, there you go.
In both cases.
If they said it, it's true.
No one believed it, because no one could fathom the firepower. Like, oh, we're gonna love the entire city. Yeah, you got firebombs, but you're not gonna do that.
So there you go. So it was dropped. But here, time after time after time, for the Jews to this very day, we drop leaflets over the area, blanket the area. Some we're gonna bomb there. So please leave. We don't want to hurt you. We don't want to hurt civilians. We just want to level you to show you can't do what you're doing. Okay, fine. So that seemed. So you could say that that's what he was going to do. But again, the question beyond why did he run? He could have sauntered over and to chop his head off. But again, so I'm not sure if the Malbim would have argued he would have done it anyway. But regardless of the case, he does do it. The bottom line is he does it. He chops his head off. And now the people the Jews pursue after the Philistines, because they see them running. Okay, you're running. That wasn't what we agreed to, if you will. So now we have to chase after you. And they like I said, they kill them. What's interesting is that they killed them from Gat until Ekron. So apparently they're on the move while they're killing them. Yeah.
It says the Philistine corpses were strewn along the Sharon road until Gat and Ekron.
Right. Again, it's a constant
once
movement.
Once they're in the city, they turn around and they see the entire road full of bodies.
Right.
Yes.
It would be interesting to know the elevations of these places, because presumably those enemy soldiers were massed on it. Were they running away uphill?
Probably down to get away. I would guess they were already at the top of the hill.
As David ran toward Goliath,
They were going towards the valley.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing the other ones would go. They weren't going to run towards the Jews. They wouldn't run into the battle. They would run away from the battle.
Yeah, I know, but my point is, even as David came closer, he was also coming closer to the rest of the Philistine forces. He was running into that.
Yeah, well, he was running to Goliath. He wasn't running to the forces.
I know. Okay. But he was still getting himself closer.
Closer, but that's only one person. So one
And in
person.
which way then did they run?
You'd have to know the geography to say that, and I don't know the geography.
Yeah, well,
They ran away from the valley.
It would make sense that they're running away from it, though. Now, of course, when you're fleeing, by the way, there's no common sense to fleeing. You flee in any direction. That's the point of fleeing. It's not retreating, it's fleeing. So I'm running in any direction possible. So I doubt anybody's running toward the Jews, unless they want to surrender with the wife left. I doubt they're doing that. And so I would have to assume they're running the other way backward. Again, you'd have to look at the topography of the land to figure out where it would be. I don't even know the topography of South Bend to Mishawaka, so I'm not a good guy to talk about that. I didn't do well in geography. They don't teach you properly either. But I know I didn't do well at that. Okay. Yeah. So then, where is it?
Are you looking for 54 or 50?
I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. So 53. Okay. So now by Yeshuva B'nai Israel, so B'nai Israel returned. Midlok acharei plishtim. From again, his fascinating word. Delika is lighting up something. Hidlik, lighting when you light your candles. But it means chasing after. Clearly here it's giving chase, which is what the Targum Onklos, I assume it's Onklos, is saying pursuing. Certainly the Targum, whoever the Targum is here. He's saying pursuing. So I'll go with him. Midlog achrei plishtim. They return from pursuing after plishtim. V'yashosu et machanehem, and so they broke. That's what they said. Broke or ripped apart. What is it? Plundered. Thank you. Plundered their camp. Okay. So so to answer your question, maybe we can go backwards from what they're saying. They returned from running out to police, and then they plundered the camp. They left because they ran. They left their camp behind. So now I'm guessing since they returned, they must be going up back to where they were. So I'm guessing that they were going up the hill, and so they must have ran down the hill. That would be my guess. But I have to just look at those sort of words. That's what I guess. Okay. And then you have what happens, 54. Vaikach David at Rosh Plishti. So now David, now we get really gory. He took the head of the Plishti, Yerushalayim, he brought Yerushalayim, Caleb and his vessels, the weapons, thank you. Caleb means vessels, but in this case, what's his vessels? His weapons.
Which is to say the weapons that he took from, you mean the sword?
Yeah, the sword and that he took. And also Sam Be'alo, and he put it in his tent. So why he took let's see what he says here, and he brought it, first of all, he brought it in Beit Yerushalayim. So he says, Rod Slimor, Malton says that he brought it, the Vasof, at the end, he brought everything to Yerushalayim, because originally he brought it before Shaul. He had a Shaul. Then afterwards, he brought it around with him to the cities of Israel. Umisham, notice he's parading around, much like the Romans did when they would capture something that would be the normal way, right? You want to show the vanquish of your enemies. Umisham, maybe that's where they got it from. Or maybe it was preceding that, I'm sure. Misham Chazer im Shaul, and then from there he returned with Shaul, ad Givot Shaul, until the hill of Shaul and his city. Ve'viu l'Shalayim, and he brought to Jerusalem, Shaya Samuch l'Sham, which was close to that. Ve'hagam Sha'az Yoshev Yavusi B'kerev Yerushalayim, and also that there, and then the Jebusites were living in the midst of Yerushalayim, Kavar B'Artizot. I've already explained this. Ki Yavusi Yeshev M'Suda Ve'ir Atzma Haitav Yerushalayim B'Yisrael, that the Yevusim were living in the area of Yerushalayim, but the city itself was in the hand of Israel. And his vessels he put into his tent. That the cherev, the sword of Goliath was in the Nov, which was in the city of the Kohanim. Because after he brought it home, he would give it to the Kohanim as a remembrance of the miracle. The question is, what does he do with the head? I guess he throws the head away.
Yeah.
He did what he had to do with the head. We're not going to keep the head. Unless you just want to stuff it, I guess. But it doesn't seem to be saying he kept the head. All we ever hear about is the sword after that. So, yeah.
So when it says he put the sword in his tent, is that, I also know like the tent of David can refer to the temple, not a temple, well I guess a temple, like his palace or something.
Well, he does have a palace yet.
No, but when he became king, did he still have Goliath's sword?
I don't know, because it would make sense that he would have had it, because what happens is he brought it to his house, and then he gives it to the Kohanim to put it in Nov as a souvenir, so that they have something going on to remember the miracle. But then they're going to, when he's on the run from Shaul, if I remember correctly, not only does he take the bread, but he takes the sword with him, and he says, I have to go on a mission. That's why I have no weaponry, so let me have the sword. And so I think at that point because he is.
Right.
Okay. Right. But yeah, until then, he's just putting it into the, everybody seems to be agreeing to that. That Marikra also says, after he put in his tent, Beshuv nitnu lahalo benov, then he gave to Nov, Shisham natan lo Achimelech cherev Goliath, because Achimelech will give to him Goliath's sword. So it must have been that he left it there. Okay.
Must have been a big sword.
Say it again?
Must have been a big sword. When it mentions Goliath's spear, it was like a...
Yeah, it wasn't a small sword.
It was like but what's it called, like a...
Spear's length, or like a loomer, something
Not a beam, whatever.
Right, but the sword was I'm guessing it was a known sword.
Okay.
In other words, you knew it was the leaders, you knew it was Goliath's sword. And why would I keep that sword? Because if I beat the guy,
Right.
you know, it shows. We'll have to stop here.
Ever found?
I assume he had it. I'm sure he kept that. I don't think he donated that to the Antiquities. Yeah, I don't think he did that.
And World War II soldiers brought Japanese swords home, yeah?
Yeah, but they didn't bring the sling.
But they brought, and Lugers from Germany.
Right. But at least I don't think they would have kept the sling. Because the sling wouldn't have meant anything. But the sword was showing I have the enemies. We captured the enemy, and then the story would come out of that. How'd you get it? So now we tell you the story. Oh, David went with a sling and a rock because Hashem was really doing it, and so on and so forth.
You know what he did? It was the equivalent.